This week on Inside Boulder News, Shanahan Ridge flourishes after a prescribed fire last fall. 1,000 BVSD 5th graders participate in an annual Children's Water Festival, and you're invited to participate in Community Cleanup Day, May 21st. Welcome to Inside Boulder News. I'm Ashley Prill. Last fall, the City of Boulder's Open Space and Mountain Parks Department and Wildland Fire Department teamed up for a prescribed burn in the Shanahan Ridge area. This week, Inside Boulder News had a chance to explore the burned area to see how it's changed.
We're on the corner of what we call the water tank prescribed fire burn unit. That sits right over here. It's amazing how easy it is for a fire department to respond to a wildfire and come up with a plan and implement that plan. When you're planning it, you have to take into account so many things from the ecological side, from the wildlife side, from the impacts on the citizens. So we have to take all those into account, come up with a plan, and then build that plan out. Safety and keeping the fire within the confines of the unit is really our #1 priority. We did about 6 weeks of prep work on the unit, getting ready, building the containment lines, and a lot of weed whacking, a lot of limbing the trees up, a lot of getting hose and water in place. And then mid-September we started on the south end of the unit and got, I believe, 18 acres done before Mother Nature shut us down. Fire is a cathartic component to the ecosystem, and we need to reintroduce it. Since 1910, and when Congress enacted the 10 a.m. rule, which is where we'll try to suppress every fire that is discovered by 10 a.m. the day after it's discovered, we've tipped the scale. And that's why we see bark beetle infestations. That's why we see a lot more of the invasive species coming in. We start to see the ponderosa growing back out into the savannas. And depending how you apply the fire, you can actually have different residence time, we call it. So how long a fire sits in a specific amount of space for a specific amount of time. The longer it's in that piece of ground, the further down into the ground it's going to burn. So if we're really trying to knock back an invasive species, we want to have that fire spend as much time as we can there, as opposed to running through quickly. So a lot of it goes into looking at what the weather is, what the topography is, and building that plan. So here we're standing on the edge of the water tank prescribed burn, and off to my right you can see it's all green. We've reduced a lot of the competition for light and for water, and we've also reduced the fire danger. All this brown, dead grass is very receptive to fire, and when it burns it actually carries rather quickly. So by reducing that fuel loading, it's going to make fire travel slower, grow slower, and be easier for us to catch. When you look at underneath this tree, we can see that there's some needles that have fallen from this year, but the rest were burned off. But if we look over here, outside the burn, it's just extremely deep and very receptive to fire. So that's one of the big things we want to get rid of. So the big benefit looking forward is twofold. A, the ecological benefits. We're restoring habitat to pre-settlement conditions before we were living here. B, really it's a matter of a lot of smoke when we can't control it, or a little bit of smoke when we can. So as long as we continue to chunk away at these prescribed burns, we can make it so that our citizens and our firefighters are going to be much safer when we do get a fire coming off the Front Range.
For more information about wildfire management, preparedness, or prescribed burns, visit the city's website. While prescribed fires take anywhere from 6 months to a year to plan, wildfires can happen in an instant, and it's important to be prepared. On May 20th and 21st, a full-scale wildland fire exercise involving over 25 agencies and more than 300 participants will take place in Boulder to increase knowledge, experience, and systematically test capabilities.
Boulder County, City of Boulder, and the Office of Emergency Management have been planning for months a full-scale training exercise that involves a wildland fire. The reason that we're doing this exercise is because we want to practice for the real event if and when a wildland fire were to occur in Boulder. Residents that live in the Dakota Ridge and Wonderland area will notice an influx of first responders over 2 days and a number of helicopters in the area. We want to make this as real as possible for our first responders so they're as prepared as possible if and when a real event occurs.
For information about disaster and emergency preparedness, including a guide you can download to inform your own plan, visit the Boulder Office of Emergency Management website. This week, CU's University Memorial Center was taken over by 1,000 fifth graders from Boulder Valley School District schools for the annual Children's Water Festival. The award-winning festival teaches students how to conserve and protect water.
It's really fun because I can see how all of it works. I was looking forward to coming up here, like being out of the classroom and learning about water and energy and stuff.
We range from different topics like water pollution prevention to water conservation, just to the science of water, even the history of water. We try to cover it all here on this one day. What we hope that kids can take away is that they can then tell their parents and their friends all of the best practices about how to use water efficiently, how to, again, prevent pollution. We want them to share this knowledge with everyone around them.
I think it's interesting that a lot more chemicals are getting into the water now, even though we're more informed about it.
If you have very heavy flow shower heads or if you have very heavy flow sinks, you're gonna be wasting like 3 gallons of water when you brush your teeth, or maybe 20 gallons of water each time you take a shower. That's maybe even 3 minutes long.
And we learned how water and energy combine together and make different things like plastic water bottles, and how water energy can also turn lights on and stuff. We should always try to protect water by using less fertilizers and chemicals, and always clean up after ourselves.
Learn more about the City of Boulder's water conservation, water education, and renewable energy programs online. In honor of the City of Boulder's commitment to community forestry, it's been named Tree City USA for the 32nd consecutive year. To celebrate Arbor Day season, the city's Parks and Recreation Department Forestry Division is planting approximately 170 trees in city parks and more than 425 trees in public street rights-of-way. In addition, the public is invited to participate in 2 upcoming planting events. On Wednesday, May 18th, 33 trees will be planted at the Gerald Stasio Ball Fields from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And on Saturday, May 21st, 25 trees will be planted at Columbia Cemetery as part of Community Cleanup Day. Speaking of Community Cleanup Day, from 8:30 a.m. to noon on May 21st, hundreds of volunteers will help with park beautification, tree plantings, creek cleanups, trail restorations, graffiti removal, and more. To participate, you'll need to register by visiting the Community Cleanup Day website. All volunteers will receive 1 free admission to the Boulder Reservoir. Following the volunteer project, you're invited to celebrate National Kids to Parks Day with activities in the downtown Boulder civic area. Thank you for watching Inside Boulder News. Stay in touch with us on Facebook and Twitter by submitting news tips and questions. You can also sign up to receive video updates right in your inbox. Just go to boulderchannel8.com and click on subscribe.